So, what's up, guys, and welcome to episode 9 of the Nothing But Controversy podcast. It is our Super Bowl review special. And yes, there is an extra one of us today. Our good friend Liam has joined us to be a special guest host. He gives interesting takes as well. I mean, we were all watching the Super Bowl all together except for Dawson, and a lot of conversations were had. But just a reminder that we post every Tuesday at 5. We record on Mondays. And we post our podcast, just the audio, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you could pretty much listen to a podcast. We post our full visual videos from the whole recording from Zoom onto YouTube at Nothing But Controversy. And we post our favorite clips at Nothing But Controversy on Instagram. If you don't have time to watch the main full show, you just want to watch a clip, go follow us there. Let's start off with our review for the Super Bowl. And the Super Bowl saw Tampa Bay play at home for the first time. A Super Bowl team has played at home for the first time, and they beat Kansas City 31-9 with Tom Brady winning his 5th Super Bowl MVP. Or 4th. Was it 5th? 5th, yeah. But anyways, who wants to start?
I'll start because I don't have much to say. It was a pretty boring game. I think we can all agree on that. It was kind of a dud. The best part of the game for me was the halftime show. The Weeknd, he killed it. Song choice was 10 on 10. But this just solidified in my head. You guys know all playoffs, I bet with the Bucks. I went with the Bucks, except for this week, and this just taught me don't bet against the GOAT. So I learned my lesson. I will never do it again, and I'm happy for Tom. But other than that, not a great game. First quarter, I saw, hey, maybe Frank Clark can get a little MVP going.
Let's go.
But no, that game was just boring from the beginning. I thought it could be a game when they had that 4th down stop, but it really was never a game, if we're being honest.
Okay, I want to add on to that just by saying I was the only one that picked the Bucks last week. I knew it was time to stop fading them, but there's no arguing that I knew that was the way that it was going to play out. I literally believed that this game might go to overtime. I thought it was going to come down to one score. I thought that like -3 +3 line was perfect. Like, with that being said, extremely boring game. I guess unless you're a huge Brady fan, but the Chiefs did nothing to help Mahomes. I saw a stat earlier today that they were in 5-man protection 92% of the time against one of the hottest defenses with 2 backup tackles playing. It makes no sense. Andy Reid, and just no adjustments in the first half, nothing at halftime, and the second half was very hard to watch. I know we watched it all together. We were all looking like we were going to fall asleep. So congrats to the Bucks, but not the best football game I've watched this postseason, that's for sure.
No doubt. I would agree. I think that Andy Reid and the Chiefs just got outcoached and outplayed, And there was a quote from Nate Burleson, I think it was at the end of the game. He said he didn't want to call the Chiefs soft or anyone soft, but he said that the Bucks, they were the aggressors all night. And bro, I think he fucking nailed that one.
I want to say if the game ended after the 3rd drive, Frank Clark would have been your Super Bowl MVP. But I think, honestly, I think the Chiefs kind of thought Mahomes, like we've all seen Mahomes play like Superman before, but I think they thought they didn't need to help him at times. Because there was one drive where every play he had to run back 20 yards and then just heave it up because he couldn't do anything else. They had a lot of, Kelsey dropped the ball, 3 or 4 times?
Yeah, that was bad.
In crucial situations. I think it was Darrell Williams that dropped the ball in the end zone when Mahomes was diving and threw that. So the offense did nothing to help him. Like you guys said, they didn't. They said they were in 5-man protection, which was brutal, which is something they should have never been in at all. Maybe 3 plays during that whole game, they should have been in 5-man protection.
I mean, they were pretty much in 3-man protection. Let's be honest.
Exactly.
True.
So the fact that even if it was just Kelsey on one side chipping one of the defensive ends doesn't make sense to me. But, I mean, I guess that's why I'm sitting here and not calling plays in the Super Bowl. That's all I have to say is they let Mahomes out to dry.
Yeah, so where I'm going to come in is I'm going to basically just jump on what Cam said. Like, we were all falling asleep. Like, it was literally like, it was at halftime and it was already a boring game. And we're looking at each other like, there's no way this game doesn't get more interesting. You know, like, obviously, like, Mahomes is going to, like, become a Superman and come back like he always has. But, like, literally the most interesting part of that game was seeing the Weeknd trying to maneuver himself through backstage in the middle of his concert and counting how many skip the dishes ads we could see in one football game. But Tampa Bay's defense was insane throughout the entire playoffs, and it didn't change yesterday. Kansas City was absolutely dominated at the line, and missing their 2 starting tackles absolutely did not help. I saw a stat where it was like Pat Mahomes scrambled for the most yards in a game this season. For like he ran for like 497 yards scrambling.
I saw that too.
That's insane.
But listen, that's not going to help you win games in the NFL today. A couple penalties, a couple drops here and there is just not a recipe for success, whether it's the Super Bowl or not. The Bucs had a bunch of stuff go their way, and they were flat out 100% the better team yesterday, without a doubt. That being said, everyone's saying, are the Chiefs for real? The Chiefs for real? The Chiefs are for real, man. Like, come on. Their 2 starting tackles were missing. That's a huge deal when you're going against that Bucs defensive line. But Tampa Bay was the better team, and they 100% deserved that Super Bowl.
And just quickly to add on top of that, the only thing that the Chiefs I'm like iffy about is that secondary. Obviously, Tampa Bay is one of the best receiving corps, if not the best receiving corps in the NFL. But that Kansas City secondary looked bad. Like, they mind you, the refs were very strict on the holding. They didn't let them play all that much. But damn, they couldn't stay in front of a Tampa Bay receiver to save their life. So that's the only thing. Offseason, obviously, a point of emphasis for them maybe, but the Chiefs are absolutely for real, and anyone who thinks they aren't, it's a problem.
I'm also not really arguing the calls that the refs made, but I do find that game was significantly aggressively called for a Super Bowl.
It was.
I think, like, on some of those plays, you let them play, even though there's little tugs here and there on, like, holding and stuff. But, I mean, I guess they were consistent, so you can give them that. They did call it all day.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I just thought it was a weirdly officiated game, but that didn't really have any outcome on the game, in my opinion. I thought the Chiefs just came out flat and the Bucs came out like superheroes. But anyways, if we're done with that, we're going to move on to a segment we do every single week. I mean, I guess it's Liam's first time, but it's the question of the week. And I believe it was Cam who came up with this week, and he said that if you were the GM of your favorite NFL team, what 3 moves would you make during this offseason, now that it's officially the offseason? I'm going to go first. I'm a Saints fan. So obviously our biggest issue is the fact that we're broke. Like, we're way over the salary cap. We have to figure out ways to cut that cap. But I guess the first thing on our mind is we have to lock up a QB. Like, Drew Brees basically restructured his contract to make sure that they save like $22 million in cap, and they're still not out of their cap troubles. That's how bad it is. But I guess I would sign Jameis. He's going to be cheap, and he did lead the league in passing touchdowns one year, right? Like, maybe he didn't excel in that Bruce Arians offense because it's wheeling and dealing, and Sean Payton might be more conservative. Whose dog is that? But yeah, I mean, if Drew doesn't retire, I mean, obviously I'll take him, but he just restructured his contract. I don't think he's gonna play with all those injuries to get paid like a league minimum or whatever. But anyways, we got to make some significant decisions to cut stars. So one of the main guys that needs to get paid is Trey Hendrickson, and I would say to cut him. I say to cut Jared Cook and to cut Quan Alexander, as much as that pains me. These guys have 3 hefty contracts, and we can't afford them. It's simple as that. And to me, I think there's we drafted at all these positions last year anyway, so we have guys coming up at those positions, so it's fine. And I saw this, like, I was looking it up because I wasn't exactly sure how the cap was going on, but apparently like there's rumors that Cam Jordan and Marshawn Lattimore were gonna restructure their contracts to help solve the cap a bit and try to compete for the championship again. So I guess the third thing would be to restructure those contracts, and I think we could be okay. I don't think we necessarily have to tank or just blow it up, but right now it's not looking good.
Yeah, so my team is actually in the exact opposite scenario of Matt. We're both playoff teams. Obviously, the Saints had definitely a better year, but the Colts have more money than they know what to do with at this point. They obviously were a playoff team. They have the second or third most cap in the league, which is huge. Obviously, huge guys to pay like Darius Leonard, Quentin Nelson, all that. But I want if I'm GM, I want to go out and spend a little money this offseason or acquire a little bit of money. And for that reason, bringing out the sign early. Shout out to Cam. Bring in, for those not watching the visuals, is bring in Carson Wentz. You asked me a week ago or whenever it was, I would have said bring in Stafford, but I'm pretty much sold on Wentz now. There's no one else I really want at the helm of the team, unless maybe they bring back Jacoby for a year and attack a free agent next year. But even at that, I'm really looking after Wentz. Second one, I don't have to cut anyone because, again, we're good money-wise, is re-sign T.Y. on a good deal and re-sign Zach Pascal on a good deal. I think both are doable. T.Y., I could see walking, unfortunately, as much as that pains me to see. He's been here since 2012, but he just really hasn't been feeling Indy as much since Luck retired, and he's kind of made that clear. I'm hearing Miami as rumors and different things like that, but so that's number 2 on my list. And then number 3 is re-sign Anthony Walker. Great young linebacker. If we can't get that done, if Matt's cutting Quan Alexander, I'll take Quan Alexander. But no, Anthony Walker getting re-signed would be huge. Darius Leonard's best friend. One of the really good young up-and-coming linebacking core with those two. So those are my 3 for the Colts.
I just have a question. If like Mac Jones or Kyle Trask available at your pick, you want to take that? You want them to take? No? Okay.
I'm sorry to both of you. I know you're Bama and Florida fans.
Okay.
I'll just take Cam's cue.
I'm going to snowball off that a little bit. Number 1 on my list is address the quarterback situation. And if it's Wentz that has to go, it's unfortunate. It is one of the biggest organizational failures this team has seen, without a doubt. I mean, they just signed him to a massive contract last year, and now you're losing $34 million, I think, next year if he's gone, which is the biggest in NFL history. So it's going to be ugly, but the situation needs to be addressed. It's clearly distressing the team and the media, and everything surrounding Philly is in a bad. It's turmoil right now. No one knows what to do. You have people on both sides like yelling at the organization and yelling at the media for trying to push the organization out of Carson Wentz. So get that done. If you're set on trading him, then trade him. Get the first round back, or get the first rounder back in return for him, and move on. It's time. It's gonna suck, but it is what it is. Number 2 on my list is the Eagles need to sign a receiver, and there's a couple of young guys who I have my eyes on, and I know they're in a little bit of tough cap trouble with them, but Alshon and Djax are probably gone. I think they need to be gone. Together, they're making $13 million next year, so let them go. Sign a guy like Will Fuller. Godwin, I think, would be a bit of a reach, but Kenny Golladay too is a free agent, so getting a receiver is key. I love Fulgham. I think Rager will be a guy that'll fit in this offense in the future, but the other guys like J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, and it's not doing it. There's no real number 1 guy right now, so they need to go ahead and get one. And then the third thing is going to be get a linebacker. I love Alex Singleton, and I like TJ Edwards, and those guys that stepped up big last year and a little bit of a playoff push. Anyways, it was a little bit embarrassing, but there's guys like Matt Milano and even Levante David that are free agents. So personally, I'd like Matt Milano. I think he's going to be cheaper. I think he's a big coverage upgrade in the secondary. But yeah, no, you need a linebacker. You need a guy who's going to be threatening on the defense. No one's scared of running against Alex Singleton or TJ Edwards. I love those guys. I'll respect them for stepping up, but they're not linebackers that are making a difference on the team right now. You need a guy who's going to come in and be that guy for the defense. And that's it for my 3 moves.
I like it. I'd say the Patriots, I'm a Pats fan, are kind of in a similar situation, like position-wise, of the Eagles. But the first thing I would do in New England would be to re-sign. They have Joe Thuney and David Andrews, who are free agents. So those are two starters on the O-line. So I think that should be priority number one for them. So you get that done. I know they have their cap space isn't too much of an issue this season. So secondly, I'd like to see them make a splash in the offseason, whether it's a free agent signing or a trade. I'd love to see them go get like a legitimate skill player or even a quarterback. And thirdly, Shaner might like this one. I want to see them draft Kyle Pitts to see if he's there, or a receiver in the draft. I want to see that
I don't want
happen.
him to be a Patriot.
He might be the greatest.
Like,
But nah.
I don't know about that. I feel like Gronk is still the greatest.
Yeah. Of course. But yeah, I really want to see them go get like a skill guy in the draft too, or Kyle Pitts if he's there. So those are my three things that I would do as the GM in New England.
Just quickly, Liam, before Shane goes.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't have a Pats fan here, so we don't talk about it
That's
much.
right.
But your prediction, money on the line, who's the starting quarterback for the Patriots in 2021?
It's crazy because I was thinking about it too, and like I don't know if they're gonna go out and get a guy, or if they want to roll Jarrett Stidham. And if I had to put money on it right now, I think we might be seeing Stidham, unfortunately.
Wow.
You don't think you're gonna draft a QB?
Or
Even if
they'll
though.
go draft a QB, but
I'm seeing so many
don't know.
mocks with Mac Jones gonna take it to the Patriots. Like,
But do you think
Even
Mac
if-
Jones
even
would
if-
start over Stidham? Like,
Yeah,
That's
no,
the thing,
is, to me,
especially
is the Patriots offense is so complex. Like Josh McDaniels has been in the league a long time. I don't think there's maybe like Trevor Lawrence might be the only quarterback that could come in and start in that offense. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree. I was just about to say that. Yeah.
all right.
All right.
Shaner.
As a Giants fan, it was hard. It was hard to find three things that I needed to fix, and it's because the
Your team's
Giants
so
also
good.
don't have. What'd you say?
I said because your team's already so good.
Oh yeah, they're elite. But yeah, they don't have much salary cap. So to start off, I would start by cutting these two players, and that's Nate Solder, who didn't even play last year because he opted out. They drafted Andrew Thomas last year to be their left tackle. He started off slow, got a lot better towards the end of the year when he got comfortable with the system and comfortable playing these elite pass rushers. And then cut Golden Tate. I mean, I'm a big Golden Tate fan, but they threw the ball to him like one time a game last year. There's no point in paying a guy that much money for him to catch one ball. He's obviously not happy. His wife is not happy because she just goes off after every game. So just cut ties and let it happen. Number two, with the cap space that they just cleared, it's signed Dalvin Tomlinson and Leonard Williams. I loved when they traded for Leonard Williams. I loved when they signed him. A lot of fans didn't because he only had like half a sack last year, but that wasn't really his game. But apparently he turned it into his game because I think he had like 10 sacks this year. And Dalvin Tomlinson might be one of the most underrated defensive tackles in the NFL. I don't think he's I'm not saying he's a Pro Bowl guy, but not many people know who Dalvin Tomlinson is. And to me, he's that leader of the D-line. He's hard to run against. Like they talk about him every game in Giants games about how good he is stopping the run and everything, how much David Gettleman loves him. So we'll see. I don't really like Gettleman, but if he brings back Tomlinson, maybe I'll start liking him a little bit more. And number one, this one might be really hard to do, like I said, with the cap situation, but Kenny Golladay. If there was one free agent receiver I would go after, it'd be Kenny Golladay. I think, based off the top of my head, I could be wrong, but I think the last time the Giants had a big number one receiver, like big-bodied, physical number one receiver, was Hakeem Nicks. I think that was the last big-body physical receiver they had. Obviously, they had Odell, but Odell's not a big-body physical receiver. So I think him, Sterling Shepard, and Darius Slayton would be a pretty solid trio. Obviously, if Evan Ingram learns how to catch a football, that'll be fine too.
Pro Bowler.
Oh, yeah. That was like that might have been the worst Pro Bowl selection in NFL history. They should have put him on the defense because he helps the other team get interceptions. Fuck. So, yeah. So, Kenny Golladay, that's my one receiver I want. I mean, I'll take, like, Godwin and, like, Will Fuller and stuff, but if I had to choose one, it's Kenny.
He's gonna want that money, huh?
That is fine. I will cut half the team if I have to get Kenny Galladay.
Man. How much is Golden Tate making?
I think it's over 10. Like yeah.
Yo.
Damn. You could have said 6, and I'd be like, damn.
Yeah.
No, you'd be surprised. Like Deshaun Jackson is
Yeah.
set to make $5 million next year. Like to me, that makes no sense to a guy that's playing 3 games a year. Even with Alshon Jeffrey, it's $8 million, and I know he's still young, or relatively young, but $8 million does not add up to the production that he had last year. Like there's no reason to keep these guys.
Yeah, but like to me, like you're 100% right where it doesn't like add up to his production, but you see a guy like Alshon Jeffrey, you got to pay that kind of money for him. You know, like if he's, I mean, we've seen what he can do, right?
If you want him as part of your organization, yes, but for the Eagles, it's time to move on. Like he was great the year they won the Super Bowl. He's played in way less games than he's sat out. So to me, it's time to move on from a guy like that.
Golden Tate is
I want him on the Saints, but if he wants to pay us money to play, then sure. But I don't think we can. Anyways, let's move on. We'll move to our next segment. It's segment we do every week, and it's our bold prediction of the week. I'm going to go first because mine's really bold. And my bold prediction this week is that both Deshaun Watson and J.J. Watt will both not be Texans by the time we speak next week. I've been hearing a lot of they're not trading Deshaun Watson, but to me, like you're not gonna just not have a quarterback. You're gonna have to like take your franchise guy and say you're gonna have to listen to him and say we're gonna give you away. And J.J. Watt has just done so much for that organization. I've heard so many things where he wants out just like Deshaun Watson does. So I know it's super bold, and we've been saying it for a while. We've been talking about these trade rumors, but I say this week's the week they get it done.
All right, make it even more bold. Where's Deshaun going?
No, okay, yeah. So just before we talk about this, my thing with Deshaun is they're saying like let's not like we're not listening to trade talk about him, blah blah blah. They don't have a first round pick, and can anyone name me their backup quarterback?
AJ McCarron.
You see what I mean? So where do you go for like AJ McCarron's not
boy.
starting in the NFL next year? That would be impossible. Like I don't believe that. So where do they go?
I have 2 options. I know I said the Colts, but that's where I wanted to see him. It's not going to happen. But I could see him going to the Jets or the Panthers. And I heard the Panthers went all in for Matt Stafford. They offered Teddy Bridgewater the 8th pick and a
fifth round pick. Yeah.
I think there was a defensive player in there too, but like I was just seeing, it was Adam Schefter who tweeted. He was like, it's clear that the Panthers are not trusting Teddy Bridgewater and they want a new guy at quarterback.
I don't think they're not trusting Teddy Bridgewater. I think it's just if Stafford and Watson are available, every team should be calling, except for like Mahomes.
That's fair.
Those guys.
I think Matt Rule wants his like long-term guy, and I think he knows Teddy's not or probably not that guy.
PJ Walker's the man.
XFL legend. All right, so mine is very similar to yours, Matt, and mine is going to make me very happy, and it's Carson Wentz gets traded to the Colts this week. Might not even be that bold at this point, considering they're saying a deal could be done soon. I think it's just a matter of whether it's the Colts or not. So that's my bold prediction of the week.
Guys, I think we all had like the same bold prediction. Mine, I didn't specify a player, but I just said it's going to be the second blockbuster of the NFL season. I'm leaning towards Carson Wentz, but
where's Shane? Where's he going?
I have a bigger
I would
one.
be shocked if he was not a Colt.
All right.
Raps are going to beat the Celtics on Thursday. That is my bold prediction. I don't know how bold that is at this point, but
I think the Raptors winning any game is pretty bold at this point.
Aaron Baines has a quadruple double.
all right.
I like it. Well, I'm sticking with the NBA too. On Wednesday, Luka and Trey are playing against each other. I'm going to say that they're going to combine for over 90 points in the game.
I like that.
It's going to be a good one.
All right, we're going to move on to our next segment, and I just want to say that this segment is the reason we have a podcast. I think it was like 3 months ago, Shayna and I went to Cam and Liam's house and had a couple Bud Lights, and for about 2 hours, we started screaming at each other about this topic, and we finally decided that it was enough. Enough was enough, and we had to start filming and seeing where it was gonna go. But it is this or that. But we're calling it Trevor Lawrence edition, and basically all it is the question is, who would you rather to start a franchise today? Okay, so I'm gonna name a quarterback, and you guys are either gonna raise your papers saying Trevor Lawrence or that particular quarterback. Take it as you want. Explain why, but my question is, who would you rather start your franchise with?
So obviously it's not going to be Brady or Trevor Lawrence because that just wouldn't make sense.
That wouldn't make sense. You have, I mean, like I'm not saying like if you're the Jags, who do you want? It's just you're starting a franchise and you want this guy as your guy for the next whatever. He's your franchise guy.
Yeah.
But the first quarterback I have is Russell Wilson or Trevor Lawrence. Let me know when you guys are ready. We're not going to have any ties this time because we got a fifth guy.
True.
All right.
Let's
Oh,
go.
baby.
Oh, Lone Wolfen. The newbie is Lone Wolfen.
Give us what
I
you
love
think,
to
bud.
see it. I don't know. I'm starting a franchise, and I have Lawrence for 15 plus years guaranteed, barring any crazy injuries. I know Russ. He's still he's top 5 quarterback in the league. I get it. If I was starting a franchise, I think I would just value the longevity Lawrence brings pretty highly. So that's why I got to go with Trevor. I don't know. I just think, I would want him long term. That's why.
It's hard to argue with that, but I say Russ just because he's like maybe one of 3 guys that's a Super Bowl champ and a guy who you're going to have for a while. And he is maybe one of the top 5 leader in this league. He just won Walter Payton Man of the Year. Like that has some value to it. But he still has yet to get his MVP vote. But I can see it happening within the next 3 years. I just think at this point I have a better chance in the next 10 years to win a Super Bowl with Russell Wilson than Trevor Lawrence. And I guess that's who I would want to start my franchise with.
Yeah, you touched on 2 points that I wanted to touch on. It was the chip on his shoulder from the MVP vote. I think, he's going to come out next year and the year after that and the year after that, have that chip on his shoulder. And it's the leadership qualities, the Walter Payton Man of the Year. That's it's not undervalued, but it's just like underappreciated to the common fan how important a leader is in the locker room. Not to say that Trevor Lawrence isn't going to be a good leader. He very well could be. But Russ is just like that guy. So that was the reason for my pick. It wasn't quite a toss-up, but I could see both ways.
Yeah, no, right now I don't think you're going wrong with either of them. But just like you guys said, he's a great leader. He's a proven winner. Like he's been to the Super Bowl a couple times. So I like what Russ brings to the table over what we know, and we have a good feeling what Trevor Lawrence's career is going to look like. But we've seen what Russ's career does look like, so I'm taking him right now.
I mean, I don't really have much to say. Russ is a top 5 quarterback, and Trevor Lawrence has never played a snap in the NFL.
Exactly, which is fair. And can we talk about how Russ was looking at the Super Bowl? A little chunky, eh?
Oh yeah. I had a couple freaking Kit Kats before the game.
His wife impregnated him.
We'll move. I mean, listen, like it's hard to say because I feel like none of us are really gonna get mad at each other because I mean Trevor Lawrence, I mean he's a good pick. Like he's the first guy I think in like a long time where we could say this guy is for real and it's not even.
Oh yeah, me saying that last time was not me thinking he's going to be a bust. That is just me thinking a guy who's like, I guess like we think Lawrence is going to be the next big thing, but I guess strange things happen sometimes, injuries or whatever. But
or retirement like Andrew Luck. I don't know.
Yeah, that too.
Also, not like I haven't seen anything either. Like did play at the highest level at his age too. Like and he was significantly better than everyone else. Like but anyways, the second quarterback we're going to go to is Trevor Lawrence or Josh Allen.
We ready?
I am.
I think this is going to be a 5 for 5. Wow. Shane.
All right. So now the four of us have Josh Allen and Shaner has Trevor Lawrence. Go ahead.
All right. I know he cleaned it up this year, but his accuracy, like Josh Allen's accuracy, is still like a problem for me. Also, his like, I don't find Josh Allen's a smart quarterback. Like he tries to extend plays that he shouldn't extend. He never throws the ball away. It's like he never wants to let a play die when plays should, like, there's some plays that there's just nothing that you can do with it. I think obviously like Trevor Lawrence, we saw him at college. I just found that he was smarter, like with the ball, than Josh Allen is, which might be hard to say because I'm comparing college and NFL. But if Josh Allen does again what he does this year, like next year, then I'll change my mind. But he did it one time, and that's why I'm going to take Lawrence.
To
He's supposed
me,
to be the next, who's the best QB prospect since Luck.
so to me, like I do agree with what you're saying, but Josh Allen did clean that up a lot this year. Like maybe it's because they won a lot of games or didn't have to come from behind a lot, but he didn't try to extend the extra like the extra couple seconds. He threw the ball away and whatever, and that is probably because they were winning. But I think they have a good team. He fits really well in Buffalo. A lot of progression was made this year. He did do a lot of the stuff that he was doing in his rookie year against Baltimore when they were losing, which didn't look good. But that being said, I'm still taking him over Trevor Lawrence. I think he's going to progress still next year. Obviously, he has a great connection with Diggs. If they can manage to get another like big time receiver, then it's lights out for Josh Allen.
Yeah, I
And
don't
maybe
have
what
anything
didn't
to
help
add.
him is not having a run game, right? Like maybe
Mhm.
that screwed him over. I don't know, but we'll find out, I guess.
I have
Yeah.
nothing to add.
Sorry.
All right. Well, me,
I
yeah, go ahead.
for me again, it's just the age thing, you know. Like Allen's still a young guy, which is why I'm taking him over Lawrence right now. Like he instead of like compared to Russ, how I snubbed him before. But Allen just looks great, and he's super young and talented, and can't go wrong with him starting a franchise. So
To me, he this year, according to the experts, he was the second best quarterback in the league. He was second in MVP voting. I mean, not even quarterback. He's the second best player in the league. I think he has a top 2 arm talent. He might be the best. He might have the best arm in the league. He's a top 5 quarterback athletically. I think you could be right that he couldn't be smart, but you said he's only done it for 1 year, but like 1 year is kind of a long time. We saw a good amount of games where he was just the best player on the field. It wasn't even close. So I have a huge bias because I love Josh Allen. I think he's just phenomenal. He's going to be one of the main guys for the next 15 years. So
All right, but like you said, he did it 1 year. We've seen 1 year wonders before. I'm not saying that's what Josh Allen is, but we have seen guys come out, ball out for a year, and then, like at one point, we were all sitting here talking that Carson Wentz was going to win MVP,
Hey, you might.
and now
Now I have to
his team
defend
wants
Carson. Now I'm gonna have to defend Carson.
now he got benched. Like,
I mean, you can make the argument that like you would take a guy who just had a good year and could potentially be a one-hit wonder versus a guy who's never played a snap. Like that argument doesn't really.
Like I'm just saying
Yeah,
what he said.
you're
Like,
also
there's
calling him a
arguments
one-hit wonder, but he was
No,
also
he's not. He's
like-
not. He's saying we've seen it before. Like it's not impossible that like he's not solidified to be that guy for the next 15 years is what he's saying.
Okay, let's move on.
Thank you.
Trevor Lawrence or Matt Stafford? All right. Okay. I thought this might happen. And listen, I'm a huge Matt Stafford guy. I am very upset that he went to the Rams because now I think they're the best team in the NFL. Like honestly, Matt Stafford is so underrated, and he makes the Rams like that much better. I also wasn't a big Jared Goff guy, but I guess he's a little old. He is beat up and banged up, but this isn't like a knock on Matt Stafford. This is more of me liking Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. I think, like, you asked me this 2 weeks ago before the trade, and I'd say Matt Stafford is the most underrated player in NFL history, blah, blah, blah. But that narrative has, like, been, like, expressed so much that I think people are now overhyping him and overhyping how underrated he is. And I think that's causing people to forget that I don't think he's ever won a playoff game, if I'm not
So that
mistaken.
about Nikola Jokic.
I did say that.
Yeah.
But, again, I'm wrong with that. But
He has never won a playoff game, no.
no, exactly. And they're acting like if he wasn't in Detroit, he'd be Tom Brady and he'd have 6 Super Bowl. Like, that's the kind of narrative they're putting towards Matt Stafford now. And don't get me wrong, he's a very good quarterback. If he was 25 years old, I'd probably say Matt Stafford. But and he's younger than I thought. I think he's 32 or whatever. But yeah, for me, it's just an age thing now. You can probably bet your ass that you won't get 10 years out of Matt Stafford. You're going to get 15 plus out of Trevor Lawrence right now. So for that reason, I have T-Law.
Yeah, very simply, Stafford has sustained some like pretty gross injuries over his career. 32 is like not super old for a quarterback, but for a guy who gets hit as much as he does and as much as he has, it's probably 3 to 4 years max, and the Rams are gonna have to protect him like the holy grail. Like if he gets injured again, like 2 years might be pushing it. So.
And it's not like he's going into a team with a great O-line either. Like,
Well,
the
they have
Rams O-line is
Whitworth, who's like probably gonna retire, or
Whitworth is
So he's coming
65
back,
years old.
apparently.
so
What?
like, anyways, yeah, I'm going with Trevor Lawrence.
This might be really bold, but I think Matt Stafford has like 2 years left on his contract, and I think he retires when it's done.
I wouldn't be
Because of injuries,
surprised.
Yeah, I can see it.
like if Matt's right and they're the best team and he walks away with a Super Bowl in the next 2 years, I don't see him coming back. I mean, I think he's smart and he knows how many injuries he's had. And in 2 years when he's 34, 35 sitting there and the Rams still don't have cap space or draft picks to protect him in any way, I think he's going to know and he's just going to retire. So I see 2 to 3 more years max for Stafford and 15 years for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. You also could have told me that Stafford was 37 and I would have believed you. Like,
True.
All right. I guess we'll move on. And it's Trevor Lawrence or Deshaun Watson. Two Clemson dogs. All right. It's unanimous once again for Deshaun
You
Watson.
definitely spelled Deshaun Watson incorrectly.
I did spell Deshaun Watson wrong. My bad, Deshaun.
I spelled Deshaun wrong too.
I spelled it like Deshaun Jackson.
Pain.
I think he's gonna be that guy. Like he's played on a shit team for so long now, and he still looks so freaking good. He's so young. Like, I really like this guy.
I don't think he's played on a shit team for so long because, like, they were in the playoffs last year.
They were beating the Chiefs 24-0.
Yeah.
21. So
Like, I think they're just, like, don't get me wrong, they're the most terribly managed team of all time, probably. But up until this year, they had a pretty good team.
they did have DeAndre Hopkins. Like Bill O'Brien single-handedly ruined the organization and is running some guys out of town even long after he's gone. But like the Texans were fine. Like Deshaun Watson's a great player. He'll go somewhere and make a shit team better than they are. But he had a lot of support in Houston.
And even this year, yeah, even this year, he didn't have a terrible year either. I think Brandon Cooks was like a top 10 receiver in yards, maybe almost top 15 for sure. So like even he's getting it done still, and he's gonna be scary on another team if he gets moved.
I think there's only one quarterback in the NFL that I would take over Watson, and it's obviously Mahomes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think number two, if I had the choice to pick Watson or any other quarterback except Mahomes, I would take Watson. And I don't even think I would like second guess it.
It's a toss-up for me for that and Josh Allen to start a franchise between those two, not including Mahomes, but I think my money would probably be on Watson too. He is very good.
I had Josh Allen at the start of the year, and it did not change. But
Yeah.
they're both good answers.
Yeah.
We'll move on, and this one's like the trickiest one for me because I still have no idea. I want to see what you guys say before I make my decision, but it's Aaron Rodgers or Trevor Lawrence. This might be a shock, but I have Rodgers. All right. I knew this would happen, but okay. So I get it. The age thing, to me, that's the only argument you guys have, which is it's a very good argument.
That's not even my only argument.
That's not my argument. That's not even my main argument.
Okay. He was the best player in the league this year. Was not close. I mean, he almost won the award unanimous. He had 44 votes for MVP. He is getting older, but his arm talent is like not. Like he's still making all those throws he always used to make. And to me, I think Rodgers gives me the best chance to win in many, many football games. And that's the reason why I have him. He's a future Hall of Famer. But I understand why you would take Trevor Lawrence. I'm not upset about it.
All right. So like you said, he gives.
Wait, hold on. Just for the record, I'm the only one who picked Rodgers. Everyone else picked Lawrence.
Like you said, he gives you a chance to win football games until he gets to the NFC Championship game. And that's my problem is his one Super Bowl and only going to one Super Bowl. That's my problem with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
He gets paid to win games, and there's something about the NFC Championship game that he just can't do it.
And look, I don't know if it's just a media thing or whatever, but Aaron Rodgers is kind of a dick. And I don't know if a lot of guys want to play with I don't know,
talent-wise they do, but I know what you're saying.
That's my argument as well.
In the locker room, yeah.
He doesn't do anything for you really off the field. You know what I mean? Like he did well this year going on the Pat McAfee show and like showing a lighter side of himself. And and I think a lot of guys appreciate that he is like a dog on the field and he wants to win every game. He's extremely competitive. But in terms of like being a leader, there's not that many guys that have come out and been like, Aaron Rodgers is my guy. Like I love him. Like obviously Devontae Adams has said that multiple times. So and that's pretty credible.
He makes him a lot of money.
But no, well that's just it. So I don't know what it is.
I mean, just think about it. If you were playing with him, he could probably hook you up with some like State Farm prices, you know.
I think
or you could go play with Pat Mahomes.
That I play in the NFL, I think they'll give you a good price.
The Rodgers rate. Anyone have anything else to say? No.
For me, it's just pure. It comes back down to the age thing. If I'm starting a franchise right now, so that's all I'm gonna say.
That's fine. Trevor Lawrence or Lamar Jackson?
Playing quarterback or running back?
You're hilarious.
Disrespectful, bro.
I'm just kidding. You all know I love Lamar Jackson. Backed it up.
Really? All right.
Look. Let me start with this one.
Hold on. Liam,
I just want to say longevity. I don't think Lamar Jackson's style, is gonna give him the same longevity that some of these other guys have. Like him running all the time, he's one serious injury away from having his career very badly affected, and I hope that doesn't happen. But it just the thought of starting a franchise with him scares me for that reason.
I mean, I think technically every player is one serious injury away from their career being over.
But some players put themselves in
Yeah.
more risk averse
Oh
situations.
yeah, for sure.
Lamar Jackson puts himself in a lot worse situations than a guy like Josh Allen runs quite a bit as well. But like Mahomes doesn't get hit very often. So there's guys who can avoid taking big hits. Lamar Jackson kind of invites them. So
I think Lamar lives off the big hit, to be honest. I think he looks for it.
Yeah,
So
until
just
he
to let
doesn't.
you guys know that it was Cam, Liam, and I who picked Trevor Lawrence, and Shane and Dawson that picked Lamar.
For me, if you offer me an NFL MVP who Matt has said on numerous occasions is arguably the most electric player in the NFL, who's also under the age of 25, it's a no-brainer for me. Again, we don't know this. Trevor Lawrence can come in and shit the bed in his rookie year. I'm not saying he's going to. With Lamar Jackson, I know what I'm getting in a sense. As much as he was inconsistent, he was somewhat consistent in his run game. At least he would always be somewhat of a threat offensively. And he's probably the only player in the NFL, or the only quarterback in the NFL, that could actually be used as a decoy in a sense. Like they're always going to have to, consider him running. And as much as we like to call him a running back, he's a quarterback. He can throw the ball. He can make plays with his arm. So for me, it's Lamar Jackson. And then, if Trevor Lawrence comes in next year and puts up a Justin Herbert season, I would probably change my mind. But for now, it's Lamar.
Not for nothing. I'm not saying that Trevor Lawrence is any type of fast Lamar Jackson is, but not for nothing. Trevor Lawrence has wheels. I don't know if you guys seen him run down the field, but that guy's got some juice. To me, Trevor Lawrence is the perfect quarterback build to win in this league. Tall and can throw a damn ball. Lamar Jackson has shown on numerous occasions that he is incredibly inconsistent with his accuracy. I will 100% tell you that if he's on his game, he's throwing the ball well and he's running well, he is the most unstoppable player in the league. But the odd time that we see that, especially in the playoffs, I want Trevor Lawrence leading my team. I think I have a better chance to win playoff games and be competitive in playoff football with Trevor Lawrence than Lamar Jackson.
I don't think it's an odd amount of times that we see Lamar Jackson that electrifying. I feel like it's less likely that you don't get that Lamar Jackson than that you do.
I guess in the playoffs we've seen it once.
Yeah, I agree. But I think that it's more likely for him to go off in a game than it is for him not to.
Okay.
And to be fair, Lamar Jackson receivers are not
Terrible.
They're not NFL caliber receivers. He needs help. I would like to see the Ravens get a big name wide receiver and then see what Lamar's really made of.
Yeah, 100%. I think a big-bodied receiver to complement Hollywood would be great, because I think Hollywood could take on a Tyreek role, but he's just he's as sad as it is, he's the guy in that offense other than Mark Andrews, and so he's getting double teamed all day. But if they had a serious number one to alleviate a bit that off Hollywood, I think Lamar would take advantage of that all day.
Yeah, I would open things up for the Ravens
Yeah.
without a doubt. I agree.
All right, we got
People
two
going
more.
after Will Fuller. I don't know why.
Yeah, I could see that.
I like it.
Okay, so we got two more. Second to last is Trevor Lawrence or Dak Prescott.
That's a good one.
That's a very good one.
Oh, baby. All right, so myself, Shane, and Liam have Trevor Lawrence. Cam and Dawson have Dak. Do you guys want to go first?
I'm going to go first just very quickly. This is a very, contingent answer. This is hopefully Dak comes back healthy and whatnot, recovered
I'm
fully.
assuming he does still, and I'm still
Yeah.
choosing Trevor, just for the
Yeah.
fact.
But not even that. Assuming he comes back healthy, he needs to show me something with this receiving core. It's a very, very, very good receiving core. Mind you, the defense was brutal this year, but I want to see what Dak can do with a full season with CD, with Amari, with Gallup, and then judge it based on there. But just for now, I have Dak because Dak has shown flashes that he could be, a I don't want to say top 5, but he could be a top 10 quarterback. So for now, I have him there. It was a very close one for me, but could very well flip-flop either side after the season. But just for now, I have Dak.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Dak, like he should, like the first 6 games or whatever, or he got hurt in week 5, right? Was it 5 or 6? He got hurt, but before that, he was absolutely lighting it up.
He was leading the NFL in passing until like week 8 or something like that.
So I hate the Cowboys, like obviously, but I love what Dak can do. He has a lot of great qualities. He's a fantastic leader. Everyone in the locker room loves him. Management loves him. Like they're saying they want to sign him to a long-term deal before March 9th. I hope the price is right just for him and since he was tagged in that horrible injury, but he has the arm strength. He polished his deep ball a little bit. I think CD and Amari and even Gallup they help him, that they make him look good, but Dak is the guy for the Cowboys, and I would love to start a franchise with him.
So if I'm just going to jump in here. So I was a big Dak is overrated guy, and over the course of his career, I've been loosening up on that because I have seen him make throws that are kind of ridiculous, and he has been a good quarterback. But I am still very much on the train of great offenses are a product of good O-line play. And it simply showed this year that they could not. I mean, Zeke is a two-time rushing leader, right? Like rushing champ, I guess. This year he could not run up damn ball because their entire O-line was just hurt the entire season. And I think that's a big reason why Dak Prescott is great, is because he's incredibly comfortable in the pocket and doesn't usually have that many worries. Not taking anything away from his arm talent or his accuracy or anything like that, because it is good. But I don't know. I think I'd rather start with Trevor Lawrence at this point. But who knows? Maybe if Dak comes back and has a MVP type season, I'll change my mind. But right now, it's Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, similar to Matt, I was never a big Dak guy. I don't know why. I just never liked him too much. But like he's a great guy. Like you can tell too. He just seems like a great guy and everything, and a great player as well. But I just love the Trevor Lawrence like perspective, like the potential that's there. And I don't know. I value that a lot right now. So that's why I took Trevor.
This might sound really stupid, but if I'm like, to me, they're really, really close, and there's nothing that like puts Dak that far ahead or puts Trevor Lawrence that far ahead right now. But if I'm starting my team, I would like to have some cap space to have other players on my team. And I feel like Dak is going to get like $40 million because we saw what happened to Dallas after he got hurt. So I would like to build a team around my quarterback. So that's why I picked Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
All
right, we'll go to our last one, and it's Trevor Lawrence or Justin Herbert. Two very similar builds, and they kind of look like each other sometimes. Liam, if you took off your glasses and dyed your hair blonde, you'd kind of look like Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to raise my thing last. All right, Liam has completely gone away from.
Liam has ruined the game. This will be his last appearance on Nothing But Controversy.
Dawson has Trevor Lawrence, Cam and Shane have Justin Herbert, and I have the now official 2020 Offensive Rookie of the Year, 41-9 votes. I am incredibly happy about this result. Justin Herbert showed to me this year signs of greatness, and I cannot wait to see this guy's career unfold. I understand why you took Trevor Lawrence. They are very similar. They look very similar. But Justin Herbert looked wonderful this year. The Chargers have their guy, and I'm excited to see this guy's career play out.
I'm not going to comment on this because I feel like everyone's tired of listening to me talk about how much I love Justin Herbert. So it was a very easy pick. That's all I'm going to say.
The only thing for me, Liam, you can go in depth, is Trevor Lawrence is a solidified, bona fide winner. That's it for me. Justin Herbert, as great as he played, didn't win that much. Didn't win all that much. You can make the argument that the team isn't great, but the team isn't bad. Great defense, very good number one receiver. Obviously, Eckler was hurt for the majority of the year, so that hurt. But Trevor Lawrence is a bona fide winner. I think if you put him on the Chargers last year, he wins more games than Justin Herbert. So that's my only argument there. I would take any of them, either of them.
Yeah, me too. To me, they're really similar guys, and I think for Trevor Lawrence, the expectation is that he goes and has a Justin Herbert season or better, in his rookie year. But then you touched on Herbert's like lack of winning and stuff. And coming out of the draft, there was like a big deal about him being like introverted and stuff like that. I don't know what he's like now personally, but you're right. Trevor Lawrence has won everywhere he's played, and I think the expectation is that continues in the NFL. So that's why I took Lawrence, but I like both guys, to be honest.
This one to me is just like a complete toss-up, but
yeah,
I really liked Herbert this year. I really, really liked him. I'll be the first to admit, before the draft, I wasn't super high on him. I didn't think he was going to be a bust, but I thought he would come in and be an average guy. Didn't know who would pick him. I think he surprised a few people this year, but yeah, I mean, look, we don't know what Trevor Lawrence is going to be. If I had to take them right now, if you show me a video with no numbers or jerseys or anything and show me them side by side, you might not be able to tell them apart. Just they have the same build.
Them naked on the field.
Jeez.
But yeah, I don't know. Just Herbert's my guy, I guess.
All right. So we'll move on to our next segment. And this is a segment I came up with, and it's NHL related, since we're going to have to start shifting gears here and start talking more about the NBA and the NHL. And it's our dream starting lineup with no salary cap in the NHL. So
now, are we going same rules applies the last game? Like you're starting a franchise with these 6 guys, like for the next 10 years, or is this?
It's just who do you think would have the best lineup? If let's say you're a team world, the aliens come down and say you got to put together a starting lineup to win possession of your world. These are the 5 guys and a goalie you're putting onto the ice.
Well, I would have to see what the alien squad looks like so that I can match up well, but I'll try my best.
All right, I'm gonna go first. I'm just gonna go through my whole list. So I feel like we're just gonna have a lot of centers on this. I mean, it's easier to put a center at wing than it is to put a wing at center. It was a toss-up between the 2 best players in the NHL right now. So at left wing, I have Nathan MacKinnon, and at center, I have Connor McDaniels. 2 best players in the NHL. I don't think anyone's really gonna disagree with me on that one. I mean, I don't really got to pay them, so I might as well have the best guys on the ice. Right wing, I have David Pastrnak. Shane kind of touched upon it while we were talking about it. Shane thinks that David Pastrnak might be the best goal scorer in the NHL, and I was trying to think of people who are better. And right now, I can't. He's just been really good. He's probably the best right winger in the world right now. At left defenseman, I have Victor Hedman. I think he's the best all-around defenseman in the NHL right now. He's like a perfect build to be defenseman. He's kind of like what Shea Weber used to be. Just huge. He's got a clapper. He's so good offensively as well as defensively. And at right D, I have Cale Makar. I think he's so talented. He's my Norris pick, and it's his 2nd year. That's crazy. And at goalie, there's no one on this planet I trust more to stop pucks than Carey Price. And it'll be like that until I see something that proves that he's not. But
I'm pretty sure the last 3 years have proven enough that he's struggling.
Last year in the playoffs, he was, I think, the best goalie in the playoffs.
We're basing it off 10 games. We're not basing it off the last 3 years.
I'm basing it off what I've seen and what I expect from him. And honestly, that's what I see.
All right, I'm going to go next just because I have the exact same lineup except for one.
So do I. I have the identical lineup, so I won't add anything on. I think you touched it all. I have the exact same lineup.
Yeah, the only reason when you brought in the aliens, I switched one of my answers. To beat these aliens, we're going to need a good leader, so I'm just replacing Hedman with Shea Weber. Shea Weber is going to be my leader out there. Carey Price in nets, Makar, McDavid, Pastrnak, and what am I missing?
Carey Price?
No, freaking McKinnon.
Oh.
That's my squad. Shea Weber captain. and then they can fight over the alternate.
In the interest of, I
like
wanted to challenge myself a bit and keep guys at their natural positions, but like obviously if you're giving me McKinnon and McDavid on the wing or whatever, like I'm gonna take that over this. But nonetheless, I've Panarin at left wing. I love that guy. I had him as I think I had him for
Got
our
him for
Ross
something.
this year. Hmm?
Yeah.
Anyways, and then McDavid at center, like obviously, definitely the best center in the NHL, best player, no argument. At right wing, I have Patty Kane, still has it. He's playing on a struggling Chicago team, but I love that guy. He's proven it his whole career, so I'm taking him on the squad. And then I have Hedman at lefty and Makar at righty, but I do have Vasilevsky in nets. I think he has the edge over Price right now, and I think Shane was talking about it a couple of days ago, but he's played every game this year for the Lightning, or almost every game this year.
Oh wow.
Price has played like a little more than half of the Habs games, I think, and he hasn't looked like the same old Pricey. Right now, I'm taking Vasilevsky over Price.
All right. I took McKinnon at left, McDavid at left wing, and McKinnon at right wing. At center, sorry. My right wing was actually really hard. It was a debate between the two best goal scorers in the NHL right now, in my opinion. I obviously went with Pasternak, but it was a game time decision because I also had Austin Matthews in there. We've already talked about Matthews' release on this show, so it was really close. But I think Pasternak's the best, like you said. Lefty, I took Hedman, who to me is, I don't even think it's close. I think he's the best defenseman in the NHL right now by far. At right D, I understand why you guys took Makar, but I'm going to take a guy who I think is criminally underrated, and it doesn't even make sense. I think he got robbed last year for the Norris. That's John Carlson. To me, right now, he's still the best right-handed shooting defenseman in the NHL. Makar's close. Like, he's getting up there, but he's not there yet. He's only in his second year. Carlson has had 70 points the last 2 years and had like 68 the year before. I think he's at a point per game already this year. He's solid in his own end. That's why I went away from Makar. And in nets, I had Vasilevsky also. To me, he's the best goalie in the NHL. I don't even see it being a conversation. So I went with Vasilevsky.
Another thing is, they do the players vote at the end of the year, right? And for the past 3 years, it's still been Carey Price getting the majority of the votes. So I guess to me, it's just you could view it as a spectator, but I think the most credible source has got to be the guy shooting the damn pucks, right? Like, in my opinion, that's my argument too.
But he doesn't get voted as the best goalie. He gets voted as like the most I forget the word. Intimidating goalie.
Okay.
But I mean, like you can't really argue that Price is the best goalie in the NHL right now.
Especially when his backup's playing better than his.
Like
Fair enough.
That's what it is. Like right now, I'm taking Vasilevsky over Price.
All right, so we'll move on. We have 2 segments left, and we're moving on to everybody's favorite, especially Dawson's, and it's top 5.
Matt, before we announce the subject, how are your bowls of candy?
They were non-existent.
What
But I
about
did get my
Costco
pick of the
7-layer dip?
Anyways, so we're doing top 5 NFL receivers because we got into another heated argument, and Shane tried to convince me that Michael Thomas is not a top 10 receiver.
I stand by it.
Ridiculous. Anyways, I'm going to go first. And to me, as a receiver, watching the NFL, and that being my favorite position in sports, to me, you need 3 major things to be a successful NFL receiver. 1 is physicality, 2 is hands, and 3 is route running. I'm not saying speed because I think that speed at this point is a formality to get into the NFL, and there's not a lot of guys that are going to out-sprint their corners besides guys like Tyreek Hill and stuff. But I think everyone's pretty much at this point running 4.4s, 4.45 kind of deals. So that's why I didn't have it in there. Obviously, it's important, but that's why I left Tyreek Hill off my list. And Tyreek Hill He's a great receiver, but I think he's just a great player. Like, I think he's like, if I had to go like top fives, like all around players that aren't quarterback, I'd probably have him in there just because he's so useful everywhere else. But as like a pure receiver, at number 5, I have Michael Thomas. Top three route runner in the NFL. Top 3 catch and traffic receiver in the NFL. You could say everything you want about him. He won Offensive Player of the Year 2 years ago. Playing at his best, there was no one who could stop him. It was not close. Guy was getting 8-9 catches a game. People are saying all he runs is slants, which is not true. But when he runs slants, he still catches the damn ball. He's still trying to get pressed. They can't cover him. So number 4, I have Stephon Diggs. After this year, what he showed me, unstoppable. Great route runner. I think he's the number 2 route runner in the NFL right now. Had all the stats to back him up too. And I think him and Josh Allen just paired together were very good. He's my number 4. Number 3, I have DeAndre Hopkins. Very, very skilled route runner and has fantastic hands. Ridiculous hands. I don't think anyone's really going to argue that one. Number 2, this might be a shock, but I have Devontae Adams. This year, he was the best receiver in the NFL. I think he's the best route runner in the NFL, best release in the NFL, and I think that's huge. He had a great season. He showed why he deserves to be in this conversation. And number 1, I have Julio Jones. For the past 2 years, he's been struggling with injuries, and it just sucks because he's so damn good. He's a huge, physical, catching, great route runner, like all these things that I said you needed to be a great receiver. He has, to me, he's the perfect build to be a damn receiver. He's unstoppable. He's my number 1.
All right, so at 5, I have T.Y. Hilton. At 4, I have Zach Pascal. Matt, that was a pretty good list. I have the same names except for number 5. So number 5, I have Tyreek Hill on my list just because, again, maybe technically speaking, he's not a top 5 receiver, but at the receiver position, he is a top 5 impactful player. And I just couldn't leave him off my list for that. Like you at number 4, I have Stephon Diggs. Not that he had a breakout season per se, but he had a breakout season in terms of going from a top 10 receiver to a solidified top 5 receiver. So I can't leave him off that list. Number 3 is the most talented receiver in the NFL, but just the past 2 years have made him drop on my list. That's Julio. He is, again, like you said, a physical specimen. The catch in the Super Bowl against the Patriots is one of my favorite catches of all time, if not my favorite. So number 3, if he had been healthy the past 2 years, he'd without a doubt be number 1, but just had to bump him on that. Number 2, DeAndre Hopkins, one of my favorite receivers in the NFL. I don't know why. I guess he played for the Texans. I always thought he was overrated. I just couldn't get around to loving him just because he was division rival. But once he got out of that division, I really started to appreciate his game. And number 1, Devontae Adams, he showed it this year. Best route runner in the NFL. Amazing hands, crazy release. Obviously, he benefits from playing with Aaron Rodgers, but I think you drop him on any team with any quarterback, and he looks just as good. So for me, he's my number 1.
All right, I'll roll with it. I was struggling with number 5, and I was waiting to see if one of you would persuade me. Actually, I'm leaving Tyreek off my list as well. At number 5, I think Liam's gonna like this one. I have Keenan Allen. I think that guy is. I mean, look, a lot of people say he's underrated. He's almost a complete package for me. Great release, great route running, great hands. He's physical. There's not much you ask him to do, and he can't do it. I think he helped Herbert this year tremendously. So he's going to get my respect and sit at number 5. At number 4, and a guy who I wasn't super high on before this year, and I didn't know what he was going to do in Buffalo, but Stephon Diggs really impressed me. Obviously led the league in catches, so there's no leaving him off this list. I agree with you. At number 3, I also have Julio. A little bit of a decline because of the injuries. He still could very well be number 1. Even before last season, I think he would have been at number 1 for me. but Calvin Ridley might be passing that torch to Calvin Ridley this year. At 2, I have Devontae, and at 1, I have JJ Arcega-Whiteside. No, I'm just kidding. I have D-Hop at 1. I'm a huge D-Hop guy. I think they're really interchangeable. I don't think anything either of them do really like sets the bar. I think D-Hop could put up the same numbers that Devontae had this year, and vice versa. And then it's really a toss-up. But I prefer D-Hop so I got him at 1.
I like it.
Nice. So for me at number 5, it was really a toss-up. I was gonna go with Keenan, but I had to drop him simply because I don't know, just the season he had, he wasn't really up there in the numbers wise. But he's still he's my favorite receiver in the NFL. But anyway, so at number 5, I put Tyreek. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. He's just super dynamic, and the speed. You said speed is a formality in the NFL, but he's just that much quicker than guys. So that's why I'm gonna put him there.
Exception. Like,
yeah. At number 4, this might come as a surprise. I'm putting Julio at 4, simply because for me the biggest knock on Julio is he doesn't score touchdowns. Like, I don't even know if he has a season over 10, and I don't know. That's my biggest knock for him. I love huge physical receivers like he is. That's probably my favorite build of receivers. But for me, that just puts him at 4. I got Stephon Diggs at 3. He, like you said, Dawson, earlier, he solidified himself as a top 5 receiver in the league this year, which is why I have him at 3. I got Devontae Adams at 2. Similar situation as Diggs, solidified himself as a top 3 guy even. So that's why he's there. And then D-Hop, I just think he does everything great. Everything. Like, it's hard to knock a guy like D-Hop. I can't really give you a weakness in his game, which is why, to me, he's the best receiver in the NFL. That's the list.
My number 5 is going to get so much heat.
Good goal.
It is fine. This guy, he plays a lot faster than he's like his combine, he ran like a 4.42 or something. But I find he plays a lot faster. To me, he's one of the most reliable guys. If there's one of the guys I need to throw the ball to late in the game to secure a win, he's a guy I trust.
I guess.
More, sure. He's a guy that I trust more than a lot of receivers. I don't know. He's a good route runner to me too. But
Is it Adam Thielen?
No.
Oh, okay.
Good guess.
Amari Cooper.
Okay.
I got hit. I don't know. It hurt me to put him on this list because he's a Cowboy. But I saw him. Obviously, my dad's a Raiders fan. I don't know. I saw him so often, and watching him at Alabama, he was just so good. I think it definitely translated to the NFL. I don't know. It's kind of biased, but it's fine. 4, I had Julio. Injuries, obviously. I do personally think he's the best receiver in the NFL. But injuries, we haven't seen him play as much as we have the other guys. 2, I have Diggs. I've always been high on Diggs. I've always liked him. I always thought he was better than Thielen. Obviously, I didn't have him in the top 5 conversation until this year. But what he
did you just skip another one?
Yeah, you skipped 3.
You skipped again.
I said 3, no?
No, you said 2.
2 again.
Oh, man. Okay, at 3, I had Diggs. Sorry. At 2, I had D-Hop.
I was about to chirp. I was like, how are you going to leave either D-Hop or Devontae Adams off your list?
My bad. Yeah, I had D-Hop at 2. At 1, I have Devontae Adams. Like you guys said, though, they're kind of interchangeable. I think next year, if we have the same thing, D-Hop will probably be 1 in some lists, and Devontae will be 2. Like, it'll switch. I feel like that's what we're in for here. They're just going to keep flip-flopping back and forth every year. So, but right now, Adams' year was too good for me not to put him at number 1. And I don't care who his quarterback is. It was too good as a receiver.
All right, I saw Matt's face when you said Amari, and I just want to let Matt unleash himself on you.
I'm not even going to unleash myself on you. I think you're wrong.
Yeah, because you think Michael Thomas is the greatest receiver in NFL history.
I don't think that. I don't think that at all. But if you're going to take anything away from his season 2 years ago, it's just.
I'm not. I've never said anything about his season 2 years ago.
He had the greatest receiving season.
Once again, I never said anything about his season 2 years ago.
Okay. We all had the same top 4, just switched around with the rankings. I think, right? We all had Diggs, Adams, D-Hop, and Julio all switched around, and we all had different top number 5s.
Only me and LBS.
Except for you and LBS had Tyreek, right?
Yeah.
I just think that Amari Cooper is the worst out of those 4. Not taking anything away from him, but to me, the only thing that Amari Cooper has top 5 is his route running. His route running is phenomenal. I'll give it to him. He has great route running. His hands are meh at best.
I don't think any NFL receiver's hands are meh. But
I think if you're getting $19 million a year, I don't think your hands are meh.
I think he's
He's
getting
had a few
paid.
questionable drops, but I wouldn't say meh. I'd say he's above average. Like, there's still guys that are dropping balls consistently. He hasn't really done
Travis
that.
Kelce dropped like 4 balls yesterday. Are we going to say his hands are meh?
You put you'd rather have Amari Cooper on the Chargers than Keenan Allen?
I never said that. I'm
I'm
not
asking
saying
Shane.
that.
I'm asking Shane.
No, but I look, Amari Cooper, to me, the only knock on him is he's a little bit lazy. But when he's on, there's not a lot of guys I'm taking over him, but
We talk about injury. We all talked about Julio's injuries. How many full seasons has Keenan Allen played?
hey, shut up.
That's like you. If I wanted a healthy receiver, I would absolutely go Amari Cooper over Keenan Allen.
We're talking about best receivers. We're not talking about least injured receivers.
Okay, but I told you I would rather have Amari Cooper, and you're arguing that I would rather have Amari Cooper. And
All
I'm
right,
telling
fine.
you,
It's fair.
The name of the show.
we all said that Julio got hurt too often for him to be number 1, but that's why I'm telling you Keenan Allen's not in mine because he doesn't play every game.
If it was top 5 longevity receivers, I wouldn't have Julio Jones at number 1. But I had top 5 receivers, and he's number 1.
Okay, but in your argument, did you not have
can't
Julio
stop.
Jones injuries? No. Yes, you did. So
No,
it's the same
Julio
thing.
was number 1 on Matt's list.
Julio was number 1 on my
But
list.
you also
He's the best
said
receiver.
about the injuries. You talked about the injuries.
I said you could have. He does have injuries, but when he's healthy,
Did you talk about the injuries?
But he's number 1. It doesn't matter.
But did you? That's what I'm saying. I would rather have because of injuries. We all talked about injuries.
Yeah.
We all talked about injuries. Did you not talk about the injuries? Answer my question.
I said. when
Answer.
healthy-
It's a yes or no question. Did you
Yes.
or did you not talk about injuries?
Yes, but that has nothing
Thank
to do
you.
with my take.
That's all I wanted to know. That's
That has
all I
nothing to do
wanted.
with my take.
That's all I wanted.
You're saying that Amari Cooper, when healthy, is a better receiver than Keenan Allen. That's what you're asking. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. I think you're wrong.
That's what I
Move
said.
on.
All right, moving on.
That's what I said now. If I thought he was a
On to our
better
last
receiver, he would have
segment.
been in my top 5.
Move on to our last segment. We're going to go to our lock of the weeks in terms of betting. The Bruins play the Rangers on Wednesday, and I have David Pastrnak anytime point scorer. Lock it in.
Someone else go.
I have Habs money line on Wednesday. They're gonna beat Toronto. There's no
Love
that's
it.
a lock.
Love
They're
it.
winning.
Mine's the same game as my bold prediction. I'm gonna lock this one in because it's a solid return for sure. Trae Young double. He's averaging 11.4 assists over his last 5 games. He's got a big one coming up against the Mavs, so lock it in. Trae Young double.
All right, I'm going to lock in. I've done it the past 3 weeks. He has not let me down. Nick Suzuki, anytime point scorer on Wednesday.
I'm gonna go all the way to Saturday on this one. Mr. Saturday night, Carey Price and Nets against the Leafs. And the Habs win. Money line. Take it.
2-0 this
Like it. Yes, sir.
All right. Well,
Wouldn't
that
that
does,
be nice?
that does it for episode 9 of the Nothing But Controversy podcast. Thanks to our guest host, Liam, for joining us. That was fun.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Yeah, so just a quick reminder, if you're listening to this on Spotify and you'd like to see our reactions, go to YouTube at Nothing But Controversy and subscribe. Watch our full recorded version. If you don't have enough time to watch these podcasts, take a stroll to Instagram at Nothing But Controversy. See our favorite clips of the week. We post every Tuesday at 5. We film every Mondays. Stay tuned for next week. It's a special episode. It's episode 10. It's our 10th anniversary here, and we're excited.
Our 10th anniversary.
Yeah, I got 10-week anniversary.
And shout out to our contest winner, too. I hope you enjoyed your chicken wings. Be on the lookout for another giveaway soon. Who knows? We need to start getting paid for this shit before we do too many more giveaways, but be on the lookout.
Have a wonderful day.
Peace out.
Later.